You die once and suddenly you're not invisible. Explore the story of Heed, who was a corpse for a while but is back to life and trying to learn about just what had happened, only to discover the story is far stranger than that. Inspired by manga, Alter X Artifact is a new LGBTQ+ webcomic for mature readers revolving around magic and political espionage. This comic features fantastic elements, gripping storytelling, and impressive visuals that pull you into the strange but fascinating world of the comic. Alter X Artifact explores themes of magic, dreams, and relationships, all while deftly weaving a compelling mystery with eye-catching visuals. You're still in time to enjoy the exciting prologue as well, but you gotta hurry over on to the website. So, if you're looking for your next weekly webcomic read, you need to go to alterxartifact.com. That is alterxartifact.com. Now back to the show.
Gentlemen, welcome to Supernatural Selection. I'm your host, Kevin the Bastard. With me this week are Mike the Skeptic. Mike, how are you doing?
Kind of tired. It's been a busy week for me.
Yeah, you went out of town on a bourbon trip, didn't you?
Yeah, I went. It was terrible. Driving it was 9 hours each way and drinking bourbon and seeing, beautiful things in Kentucky and neat distilleries. Totally awful.
Absolutely.
Getting paid for it. Man.
Worst thing ever.
Worst. Terrible.
Yep.
Awful.
Figured. And we also have Mr. David Davis. David, how are you doing this week?
Doing well, but I failed my bluff check, so actually I feel terrible.
Wow.
Dang.
Yep.
I know you're convincing me at first.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well,
no, I'm actually pretty great. I just want to make a reference to Dungeons and Dragons because I saw the movie. It was fun.
Oh, you suck. I'm looking forward to it.
So you failed your bluff check to lie, but you didn't lie. Something like that.
Something.
Yeah. It's a developing thing.
Yes.
It's many layers.
Yep.
Like an onion.
Got to keep you on your toes.
Yeah. So we had something interesting happen today.
Ooh.
So last year, a fella came in the store, and I tend to keep a little stack of Supernatural Selection business cards with a QR code on them at my register. And he was like, oh, is this a podcast? I said, yes, it is. It's about the paranormal. And he said, great, I'll give it a listen, which people say that and then throw them away. So I typically don't think about it because they're business cards. Mm-hmm. And he came back in the store today, and he has been listening for a year. He is a fan. So today I got to meet, I believe his name was Todd. So hi, Todd, right up top. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it. And it's just nice to meet somebody that actually listens and really complimented your research, David.
Woo, good for me.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of that this week as well, but we'll get into that in a minute.
Yes, we will. And the other thing is I had a great reaction while Mike was out of town. We had a Texan come through the store and saw the business cards. And he was definitely a Texan because he had a belt buckle big enough that Captain America could use it for a shield. And he had a cowboy hat.
And that's a pretty good description of a Texan.
Yeah, pretty much. And also he's like close to 7 feet tall. Because everything's bigger in Texas. So he comes through and he sees a card and he looks and there's Enrique and he just yells, "What the hell is this shit?" Then grabs his booze and just walks out.
Kevin, that was Saturday. I was there for that.
Oh, you were there for that?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, dude.
He was standing behind the Texan.
I don't think I was up front when it happened, but you told me soon after it happened.
Okay, well, that was, man, I don't know. There was part of me that's kind of proud of that. It's like, wow, I pissed off a square.
Pissing off the squares, man.
Discordianism.
Yeah. Hail Eris. Hail Discordia. So, needless to say, I'm researching my next episode, so we'll get on to that in a couple of weeks. So, David, what have you got for us this time? Because I'm excited.
Well, before I do the actual episode introduction, Mike, you were on a bourbon trip, right? So
Yeah.
you went down to Kentucky. Did you see that bourbon fungus that's going around?
No.
I've heard about this.
Yes, there is near the Jack Daniel's distillery or something along those lines. There is a fungus that is taking over.
So
Yes, it's growing over everything.
there is a fungus. I forget what they talked about it. But
Drunkus among us.
if you see any, because we did tours and on one of them they talked about it. I don't know if this is the same thing, but if you ever see a barrel and it has like black on it, or you see a rick house that looks really dirty and has all this black, that is a fungus that grows from the evaporating alcohol.
Jesus.
That is exactly what I was talking about. So, yep.
Yeah. Okay, well,
Okay.
that's fun. Now, David, this week you're talking a lot about fungus, and it leads me to like two things I want to say. Number one, you make me think of Egon.
Like spores, molds, and fungus.
Exactly. And secondly, how in the hell have you ever gotten laid, you giant nerd?
Oh, I've got stories.
Okay, I don't need those stories.
Yeah.
So.
But no, it's interesting because like I wanted to bring up that black mold fungus that's connected to the distillery, and I couldn't fit it in the script. That's how much fungus shit is going around right now.
Not to mention the Last of Us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do mention The Last of Us. Spoiler alert. So
I just
not spoiling the show, but yeah.
I'm really glad Mike brought that up because here's a great little in for it. So yeah.
All right, so today our topic is a meme that I first stumbled onto on X, which is 4chan's paranormal board.
You should be familiar with it by now if you're a regular
if you're listening to the show, you've probably heard our Week in Weird where we have X gonna give it to you and that sort of thing. Generally, nothing very serious going on there.
No.
Except this. This struck me as interesting. So, and in fact, I kind of stumbled onto it when we were recording a Week in Weird. I'd seen it before, but it really caught my attention while I was looking on on the board for something.
Right.
And I think we have my reaction in one of the episodes where we start we plant the spores for this very topic.
God, fuck you and these puns. Yes, I remember when that happened because you were like, "Holy shit, what is this?" And yeah.
So it's been on my to-do list for a while. I got it into one episode. The document's probably, let's see, how many pages is this? Like 26? No, 25. 25 pages.
25 pages, nice.
And I could have written more, but
Goddamn.
I'm not going to because, again, I don't want to be the guy. It's always like, oh, it's always a fucking multi-parter with this guy. So today we're talking about Cosmic Death Fungus.
Now, I understand that this is good on pizza.
Yeah, it's out of this world. So first of all, okay, so obviously I'd mentioned on the show, but have either of you heard of this before aside from that?
No, you introduced me to it. You sent me a version of the doc, the PDF that we're going to bring up, and wow, it's stupid.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Wasn't this like some kind of sci-fi plot? I mean, it sounds familiar.
It really does. It sounds like something like Crichton would have written.
Now, here's the thing. It put me down this really weird kind of research hole because there's a lot going on with that PDF. Not as much as you would think, but still some interesting stuff. But connecting to the larger topic of mycology and a real threat. So we're dealing with a document that gives us kind of like this imagined threat, but there's actually a thread connecting, a mycelial thread, if you will. Yeah, expect a lot of puns. But
yeah.
Connecting to something that's very, very real and kind of rattles me just a little bit. So, yeah. So I call it a meme right up top because it is. However, aside from the crank shit that we'll inevitably discuss later in the episode, I also found the idea intensely plausible.
Oh, I hate those. The conspiracies was like, well, this is stupid, but it's just enough that I could buy it if I were dumber.
Right. Especially because fungus is like absolutely amazing for many reasons, and it's a big topic right now.
Right.
Like fungus so hot right now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, first of all, before we go further, we must decide how we're going to pronounce this shit. Obviously, fungus is fungus, but the plural, how do we pronounce it? Now, I've heard it 4 ways.
I've heard it several, yes.
Okay.
Now,
so
let's go over
fungi,
fungi,
fungi, fungi,
Fungi.
and fungi.
and fungi. Fungi.
I've heard that too, but I've also heard fungi. So, I'm going to say most of the time I've heard it as fungi.
Just like
And
David, he's a fungi.
I was going to
There we
say, if we don't go with fungi, half of our jokes are going to fall flat.
Okay, because I know that there's going to be a debate on this on the Discord.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to see to it and do a poll to find out like where we land on this. But
Okay.
yeah, we'll go with fungi. So
Okay.
I might slip into fungi or fungi, but
I'll
fungi
smack
is
you
what we're
around.
going
It's
for.
okay.
think
Okay,
they'll
all right.
figure it out.
Yeah.
You just cough really obnoxiously. Just oh, sorry, fungi. There we
Yeah.
go. So my sources on this topic are plenty, particularly for more factual mycelial discussion. I have
so
every
professional.
source. Yeah, every source is included in the outline, which you can access from the show page when you click on the episode. I do have a couple of sources I want to mention right at the top.
Okay.
So first, I have a couple of mushroom documentaries that I rewatched for this topic. So here's the thing. This isn't my first rodeo with like reading about mushrooms.
Okay.
Yeah, I've watched like mushroom documentaries before. I find them really cool. I was already interested in this topic, but then when you throw in cosmic death attached to it, I'm like, ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
Like we all fall into those holes, right?
Sure,
Those, like,
right.
Yeah.
I'll-
So mine is particularly fungus filled.
Yeah, I'll take statements I never thought I'd hear for 1,000, Alex.
So I should note that I've already seen these before because I love documentaries and I think mushrooms are cool as fuck. Okay.
Again, you are a fucking nerd, so.
Yeah. So the first documentary was Fantastic Fungi, directed by Louis Schwartzberg and narrated by Brie Larson.
Oh, that's interesting.
And you can watch that on Netflix.
Huh.
So there you go. But yeah, no, it's Brie Larson, and she's talking about fungus. It's cool.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my metric for cool. Is it a celebrity I like?
Okay.
Tackling a nerdy subject. There we go.
Yeah. God, should have been
second-
Sam Elliott. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you about the fungus.
That would be a fun one too.
Yes.
Second is the documentary "What Was the First Fungus" by the YouTube channel History of the Earth. It's a
Okay.
cool little natural science channel. There's also a documentary on YouTube called Fungus, the Third Kingdom. And I've watched all 3 of these.
Okay.
Now, textual sources for this episode include the Tree of Life web project and a few other sources that I'll name as I use them. And our key text, which is the PDF about Cosmic Death Fungus, it just updated to the version 2.02,
God
which
damn
added
it.
a bunch of sections, so I had to add a bunch of stuff today.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, so this episode's going to probably be a little bit messy, but I have the current 2.02 document linked in there. It's a trip, so...
So wait, you said fungus, the third kingdom. That makes it a mushroom kingdom, right?
I like it. Well, no one commented on my "it's a fun trip" pun, so I'm very upset. You guys are slacking.
Yeah, okay, sorry. I missed
Yeah.
that one. You've got so
right.
many in there.
Yeah, there are a few. Okay, so I have this as fungi facts. See, I'm already gonna fuck it up.
You're fucking it up already. Good.
Just say it differently every time.
Oh,
to-
yeah, no, that's a good way to do it.
A
How many
rolling-
times we'll track it?
Yeah.
rolling piss off.
All right, so fungi facts.
Yeah. All right. So before we route some fun and quite frankly alarming stuff, what do you guys know about this third kingdom of life on Earth?
Honestly,
what's your mushroom knowledge?
I honestly thought this was a section at Disney World for a minute, but seriously, I spent most of my biology class behind Mike drawing comic book characters, and I don't remember a lot.
I mean, so I know,
Our biology teacher was also like 90 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I've always seen you, Mike, as more of a STEM guy. Were you much of a biology guy?
I mean, I did well in science and math. When I applied myself, I was just kind of
There's the problem.
bored a lot.
We also discovered
So-
Robert Jordan at that
Yeah,
point,
true.
so
Well,
that
that was
really
probably-
fucked us over. That was mostly math class, though.
But yeah, I mean, I enjoy that stuff, yes, but I will quote my like 5th grade report card that really sums up me up. Mike needs to put forth more effort.
Okay, well then this should be pretty educational.
Yeah.
And
So-
I'll just be upfront about all of this. Most of this script is just like actual fungi shit, like stuff that I want to talk about. I do talk about the main topic, but I think reality is much more interesting than whatever artifice that they cooked up.
Okay.
Just fungus.
Fungi.
But no-
Fungi.
Fungicises.
But to answer your question about
Isms.
what do I know about fungus, I mean, I know what most everybody knows, or maybe not everybody. Maybe I'm giving too much credit.
Okay.
But, that they are not
The
neither
stuff-
plant nor animal.
Yeah. Which I had forgotten that. I was like, fungus is a plant, right? I mean, fuck.
That they reproduce by spores, and so that means they just like, I can't remember. Do they like do any kind of pollination, or they just basically?
They can.
Yeah, they're very complex and in a lot of ways ill-defined. It's pretty wild.
And they
So,
probably is. Do they asexually or sexually reproduce? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
They go both
actually.
ways. Yeah, they go both ways.
AC/DC.
Oh
Yep.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I also know I don't like them. Like I usually don't like eating mushrooms.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I love
What
mushrooms,
about like if you see a mushroom, like one of the really weird, colorful ones, does it freak you out a little bit?
No.
Because I know that stuff can freak out some people.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean,
Well,
like
it's-
lotus pods. I know some folks that'll freak out over lotus pods, but I never heard
it
of
could
somebody
just
freaking
be
out
that
over
because
a mushroom.
I've seen mushrooms that have those kind of like things.
Oh,
so yeah, it
right.
could be that.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I drove Kevin's van for a good while that had like a fungus growing next to the
We had some mold and
Moon
fungus
roof.
in there, yeah.
Yeah,
because it
yeah.
just slowly leaked.
Yeah.
It was that orange kind of like frilly.
Oh,
fungus.
Yeah.
oh no. Oh no.
Are we
That
going to
explains
die?
a lot then. That explains a lot then. You might have the cosmic death fungus.
Oh, shit. That's it?
20. That's 20 something years ago. So.
Oh, Christ.
Oh,
yeah,
do you have
that
health
was...
problems now? Do
What?
you have health problems now?
Not really.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, I
Kevin's
had...
always
yeah.
had health.
I had
problems.
rot leg and rot neck, so yeah, I guess I
That's
do.
cosmic death fungus.
Great.
Yep, you guys
Perfect.
got it. Yep. Okay.
Let's talk about this third kingdom thing, because what the fuck?
Yeah, so they are the third kingdom in the classification of life. What do we remember from biology about prokaryotic and eukaryotic organisms?
Those are part of the Tyrannid army in Warhammer 40,000.
Those names are familiar, but I don't remember offhand.
Yeah.
Okay, so I should probably quit prompting you guys for knowledge about biology.
Unless you want sarcasm.
Keep going.
Yeah,
I might
keep
actually
doing it.
remember something.
Yeah, Mike might
okay.
remember more than I do.
So far, you're not doing well, but here we go.
Well, we're not
so
getting paid, so...
So fungi are classified as eukaryotic, as in having cell membranes.
Okay.
They're in a kingdom with things such as yeast and molds. Now, fungi are classified as separate even from plant, animalia, protozoa, and chromista. Now, I don't even know all of these, so
Okay,
I'm
'cause I know
I'm
what
not
a
doing
proto-
much better.
I know what protozoa is. That's like your small single cell to small multicellular organisms. Chromista just sounds like a hyper intelligent shade of the color blue.
No, it sounds like
Right.
like one of those female transformers.
Ooh.
Yeah, there you go.
Sexy
So
robot
obviously,
ladies.
Plantae and Animalia are like the two big kingdoms, right? Well,
Plants
this is our
and
third
animals.
kingdom. Yep.
So
For a long time, fungi were lumped in with the plant kingdom because of some superficial similarities.
okay, that explains it because my encyclopedias I grew up with, and I hate to interrupt again, but I grew up with encyclopedias that the most recent volume was from 1965.
I can also explain a more an easier explanation as to why people confuse them
Okay.
for plants. Where do you buy them in the store?
Oh, in the vegetable section.
Yeah, the produce. So yeah, I think like, even things like that's kind of what kind of perpetuates that. But I think more people than ever these days know that they're like a unique thing.
Right.
God, how terrifying would it be if there was a separate fungus section in your grocery
Right.
store?
Oh, God. I don't know if you're selling this or if something's leaking.
Like, who stepped in this? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So obviously there are these superficial similarities, but they would ultimately be found distinct enough and in many ways kind of a quasi middle ground between plants and animals in some regards.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Now, I'm not Paul Stamets, so I'm not going to get too into the weeds regarding the biology of these things. There's not much room in the script for that.
All right, boo this man. Boo!
Grown.
I was so happy. I chuckled to myself. That was a chuckler.
Of course
I
you did.
fucking bet you did.
But here we go. Does the name Paul Stamets seem familiar to you guys?
Only from Star Trek Discovery.
That's what I thought.
And it, like you're thinking of the character, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. The character is named after somebody. We'll get into that.
Of course
Right.
it is.
So-
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Might be a descendant.
Because that was the mycelial network.
So I'm bringing Paul Stamets up because the Cosmic Death Fungus PDF name drops him specifically, listing him as a serial fungi promoter. And it's not a wrong description, but
Okay,
it's
that's-
very tongue-in-cheek.
Okay.
So he is one of the most well-known mycologists on Earth, hugely influential. That Fantastic Fungi movie on Netflix, for example, is a documentary that he, I think, helped produce.
Okay.
And he's one of the big talking heads in it. He's probably the biggest name in mycology, if that is a thing on your radar. Like, I knew about him casually because I think mushrooms are fascinating.
Yes. So
yeah.
you say.
So he's an entrepreneur who also sells mushroom-based products and advocates such as medicinal fungi.
So he's kind of like a Ron Popeil for mushrooms.
Yeah, he's... okay, so let me get into this just a little bit.
Sure, yes.
So he received his bachelor's degree in 1979 and worked as a logger, but his career in mycology is largely the result of self-teaching.
Oh, boy.
However, he has been awarded an honorary doctorate from the Nation University of Natural Medicine in Portland.
Kermit the Frog has an honorary doctorate.
And then also he had a Star Trek character named after him, so there's that.
Which is cool.
Yeah, and so he was in that Fantastic Fungi documentary, everything like that. All of this is to say that the perceived authority of fungus for much of the popular understanding of the world is this self-taught guy who's interested in the field. It's done a lot to improve the status of mushrooms as a subject in many ways, but also skews a little bit more towards pseudoscience and natural cure efficacy, which is kind of a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Also consider that Joe Rogan had this guy on his podcast several times. I think that alone is enough to give us pause. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Rogan's podcast can be dangerous, but I'm kind of torn because, like, freedom of speech and shit. I just feel like if you're the host of a podcast, maybe we're not experts.
Well, and here's the thing. I had to make an ethical decision doing this script to a certain point. So,
Right.
again, this is, serious stuff.
Right. No, I totally understand.
So, Paul Stamets, he seems like a nice guy. It gives me pause that he's kind of an entrepreneur, and he's also like,
Yeah.
you should buy these mushroom cures. So instead of people like Paul Stamets, like, I'm sure he's a nice guy.
Buy his immortality mushrooms.
Right.
Full of magnets.
So instead, maybe society should turn to more people like Michael W. Bugh, who has an actual PhD, still lecturing today. But I get the appeal of figures like Stamets for, who, for lack of a better term, makes fungus a sexy thing.
Well, so
I was
think,
going to say these are like your charismatics in the religious field.
I was going to also say I think it's probably symptomatic of our media, where all our media has gone to highlight and deify the underdog scientist who is eschewed by mainstream science,
Right.
but then comes from left field with some wacky things that all science says isn't possible, and he's right and saves the world.
Yeah, I was going to just throw in their wacky ass, but you got the point across. I guess that both of these mushroom dudes are fungi. There, okay, I made the fucking joke.
Woo!
I
This
made
is
the
going to get
joke.
old fast.
Mike made the joke. I think we're good on that
I think
joke
the
now.
cats are over there making the joke.
Yep. A lot of cats sitting there going, "Fun guys, it's funny." No, really, just wait. It gets funny. It's funny the fifth time you make the joke.
So like when I say making fungus a sexy thing, obviously like we both have all three of us, I guess I'll throw Mike in there, have a grasp of the English language.
Yes.
We know that words can have multiple meanings.
And in sexy, you mean fascinating to the masses.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
makes it a hot thing.
I thought you were talking about sexy in the way that mushrooms are kind of phallic and never mind. That was just me.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
Now, I got one thing to throw in here real quick, speaking of sexy fungus. Is Princess Peach a mushroom?
Now, the lore of that is really interesting because they introduced the Super Crown in the new Super Mario Brothers games, which when Toadette grabs it, she turns into a peach-like Toadette. So it could be that Princess Peach is mushroom.
Okay.
She's a magicked mushroom, you could say.
I'm horrified at the idea of like her father being a human and her mother being like a leggy, sexy mushroom.
No, I think she's just a regular toad that when crowned with the crown turned into peach.
Like
you remember the Bowsette thing?
Yeah, the Bowsette crown
and the
is
Boozette.
just another copy.
And the Chompette, yeah.
Yeah, all that crazy shit. Oh God, what have we done?
So the thing about like the interpretation of fungus like right now is it's some kind of unknowable alien on Earth that has like a real power, but it's often misunderstood and sometimes attributed to intelligence beyond its scope. Because mushrooms do fascinating things, the way they grow and they actually communicate. It's like having another form of life on Earth that is, again, a third kingdom.
So I have heard scientists like kind of almost tongue-in-cheek posit that mushrooms could have come from some other planet. But I've also heard them the same thing about octopi.
Right.
We will be getting into that as well.
So alien. Yeah, I figured that, but you know,
it is supernatural selection.
They're both fairly alien, and the funny thing is they both don't leave a lot of archaeological evidence behind.
Right.
Yep.
So we don't exactly know when they came about.
Right. So with all that said, fungus is pretty wild. I mean, hopefully by the end of this, you guys are like, yeah, this is cool stuff. I should watch those documentaries.
Sure.
So I want to hit on some interesting facts from the world of mycology that are going to help me make the case that this insane 4chan bullshit I'm going to mention is plausible to a degree.
To a degree.
To a degree.
Some scientists have wacky theories.
And that there is like an actual perceivable threat here, but it's not what they're outlining.
Sure.
So I hope that all these crazy facts help the fungus grow on you.
I am going to throw a fucking bar stool at you.
I hope not, because, you know, I've had athlete's foot before, and, I got rid of that shit.
So
It's the only fungus that's ever grown on me.
My dad had toenail fungus. Does that count?
you've mentioned that. I think you mentioned it last week.
Wow, I'm just going to mention it every episode from now on.
Yeah, like the popcorny looking stuff?
No, growing under the toenails. So it looked like an elephant's toenail.
Oh, like, because I recall someone I know who had, like, fungus under their toenail, but it pushed the toenail up.
Yeah,
So
it kind of did
it
that.
looked like popcorn coming out.
No, it didn't look like that. No, I know what you're talking about. This just made it his toenails, like, super fucking thick, where you had to use, like, shears to cut them, like a fucking hoof.
Goddamn.
Yeah, my dad was behooved. Of course, he may have been a satyr. I don't know.
Well, let's talk a little bit about fungal variety here.
Sure.
Now, fungi, or fungi, fall under three major groups. You have the multicellular filamentous molds, macroscopic filamentous fungi, and single-celled yeasts. Yeah. Now, this cosmic death fungus we're going to talk about is mostly concerned with the multicellular filamentous molds and not really the type of fruiting bodies we might instinctively consider like mushrooms.
So, not like The Last of Us?
No mushrooms going out of our heads yet.
Okay.
So like slime molds and things like that.
Yeah.
Specifically filamentous. So if we
Yeah.
know what filament is, it's
Yeah.
like tendrils and roots, that kind of thing.
So mycelium, or what's it called, Mike? The mycelial,
Mycelium?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Now, with filamentous molds, they have what are very fine threads known as hyphae that grow and divide, creating what is known as mycelium.
Yeah, there we go. That's
Kind
the
of
one.
like how nerves work.
Right.
Now, the cap and the stem of the mushroom is usually a very small component of what the actual mushroom is.
That makes sense.
The mushroom itself is mostly this tangle of mycelial threads and branching filament below the surface.
So the cap and stem is more like just the reproductive parts, really.
So it literally is the penis.
Yeah, its stick's always hanging out.
Yep. Okay, great.
And
Now,
that means we just eat fungus sticks.
I'll eat a bag of dicks if it's mushrooms.
So, just as fungus can have a trail in a forest or just about any earthly biome, they can also operate similarly to organisms. Originate similarly in organisms.
Real quick, you bring up the trail, so it's like fairy rings.
Well, and that's why you see fairy rings are a lot. There's a lot of mushrooms that seem to be growing out of the ground.
Yeah, they're always in a circle. Okay, cool.
Okay. So many fungi fungi. Yeah, okay. See, I'm going to geek
Fungi.
anyway.
Whatever.
Okay. Fungi thrive in moist acidic environments, but can also survive without light and oxygen.
Well, that's fucked.
Some fungus reproduces sexually, but many can reproduce asexually. All right. Fungi are also iconic decomposers and feed on death and rot. They're also capable of forming symbiotic relationships with host organisms.
If there weren't so many of these things on Earth, I would actually assume we're talking about aliens right now.
There's a lot of weird stuff going on here, right?
Yeah. Well, we formed symbiotic relationships with a certain type of fungus, yeast. It makes our alcohol.
Yeah, and bread.
We love it.
Yep.
Yeah, and part of the thing, again, this document's huge. I think it was 246 pages on the latest version.
Yeah.
They make a big case against yeast and yeast used in beer and bread.
Yeah.
That's what fucked us over as a species. That's what they claim as. We'll get into that, but
we'll get to that later.
Again, there's just some really interesting stuff going on here about how these things operate. A lot of anthropomorphic characteristics.
The fungus made us dependent on them.
Kinda.
Which is a pretty valid theory in some ways.
Yeah.
Now, fungi also has the distinction of being the largest organism on Earth today.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go ahead and quote from the Scientific American here. Quote, "Next time you purchase white button mushrooms at the grocery store, just remember they may be cute and bite-sized, but they have a relative out west that occupies some 2,384 acres or 965 hectares. Yeah, of soil in Oregon's Blue Mountains. Put another way, this humongous fungus would encompass 1,665 football fields or nearly 4 square miles, 10 square kilometers of turf."
Fuck.
I want to bring up two things. One, yes, us Americans really will use anything but the metric system to measure things.
Yes.
And two, I think I read a thing that's kind of in dispute. It may not all be. It's still big ass words, but it may actually be a couple of distinct mushrooms fungus that are not literally the same organism. So there's still some questions about it, but no doubt they are huge.
Yeah.
Right.
But no, imagine you start at 4 miles. You start at one spot. You take a sample. You identify the genome. Travel 4 miles away, and identify that
same goddamn thing.
But even. Well, I think the thought is that they may be if they asexually reproduced, it could be separate organisms and not fully linked.
Yeah.
Because they still have the same genome. But even if it is, even you're talking about 10 or 20 separate organisms. Those individuals are still giant.
Right. And I got a little bit more of the quote here. So, continuing the quote, the discovery of this giant Armillaria osteae in 1998 heralded a new record holder for the title of the world's largest known organism, believed by most to be the 110-foot, 33.5-meter-long, 200-ton blue whale. Based on its current growth rate, the fungus is estimated to be 2,400 years old, but could be as ancient as 8,650 years, which would earn it a place among the longest living organisms as well.
Second largest and oldest, next to yo mama.
You son of a bitch.
Boom! Thank you.
So, like, okay, so this thing is
insane.
impossibly huge and could also be impossibly old. Again, like, it's not guaranteed, but I would trust Scientific American to a degree here.
Well,
I feel like they would do their work.
Kind of more recent thoughts and speculation.
Yeah.
It's nothing proven, but you
Yeah.
know, it is a thought that I read.
And it's enough to kind of make you go, ooh.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's two separate things, it's still fuck. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, it's 2-mile long networks of fungi stacked next to each other. Okay. Now, I should also emphasize that this organism is a killer.
Yes.
Again, from Scientific American, quote, this one, Aestoia, causes the armillaria root disease, which kills swaths of conifers in many parts of the U.S. and Canada. The fungus primarily grows along tree roots via hyphae, fine filaments that mat together and excrete digestive enzymes. Ugh. But armillaria has the unique ability to extend rhizomorphs, flat shoestring-like structures that bridge gaps between food sources and expand the fungus's sweeping perimeter even more.
Man, fuck fungi. I take back everything I've ever said about the ocean. We need to nuke the shrooms.
But then you get a mushroom cloud.
Hey, fine, as long as it's not a fucking tree-eating mushroom.
And then the external digestion is also one of those things that kind of makes you feel uneasy.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, I mean, obviously there's some weird shit here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It makes me uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah, I am thoroughly creeped.
Okay. So, that's fun.
Sure it is.
But let's talk about the other fun ways that fungus murders things.
Fucking Christ. Okay, sure.
Now, does the name cordyceps mean anything to you, gentlemen?
Yeah.
They use that to hold open the body during operations, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I became familiar with it through The Last of Us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
I haven't played it or
talk,
watched the show, so
we'll talk about it a little bit. But cordyceps is a genus of sac fungi that includes over 600 different species. This genus has long been utilized in Chinese medicine for over 1,000 years.
probably a bad idea.
Well, I mean, I don't know, it worked for them. Except they also had an emperor who drank mercury and killed himself.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Right. Many of the species are endoparasitoids, feeding on insects and arthropods. You may have already heard of the phenomenon of zombie ants.
Oh, God. Can we gloss this over or hurry up before I throw up?
No, we're going through it. We're taking our time.
Fuck. Okay.
I like to make it slow. So I'm going to quote from National Geographic here. Quote, the Ophiocordyceps unilateralis fungus has just one goal: self-propagation and dispersal. Researchers think the fungus, found in tropical forests, infects a foraging ant through spores that attach to and penetrate the exoskeleton and slowly takes over its behavior. As the infection advances, the enthralled ant is compelled to leave its nest for a more humid microclimate that's favorable to the fungus's growth. The ant is compelled to descend to a vantage point about 10 inches off of the ground, sink its jaws into a leaf vein on the north side of a plant, and wait for death. Meanwhile, the fungus feeds on its victim's innards until it's ready for the final stage. Several days after the ant has died, the fungus sends a fruiting body out through the base of the ant's head, turning its shriveled corpse into a launch pad from which it can jettison its spores to infect new ants.
All right, I'm developing a theory that late-stage capitalism may in fact be a fungus, so discuss this on our Discord.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in that passage that I read. It's the specificity that makes me anxious.
Yeah,
about
no, but it's specific. There's specific things the infected insect does. It doesn't just go like nuts. It's like, I must find hot place.
And then like 10 inches from the ground.
Uh-huh.
Like the optimal height for the spore, apparently. And the north side.
Right.
And you wonder, like, how does the fungus make it do that?
I guess it's like once the fungus gets like a certain... I don't know. Fuck it. Kill it. Burn it.
And then, yeah, going out through the base of the ant's head. Like, you would assume, like, the fungus would go out, like, wherever it's pointed. But yeah, it's wild stuff.
I mean, I'm sure it targets specific tissues.
Yeah, what's your science have to say about this, Mike?
It says it's gross and scary.
Yeah, I don't like it.
But no, I mean, it obviously isn't going to do it willy-nilly because, you know, it's certain...
I looked up pictures. Don't look up pictures.
Yeah, don't look up pictures.
Do yourself a favor and Google zombie ants. It's
Fuck
cool.
you, don't do it.
But yeah, no, it's... Yeah. Not
Again, it's that specificity that kind of like number one, I think this is cool. I think this is incredible. I love reading about it.
It's fascinating and awful.
And to control the ant, it obviously has to be in its nervous system. So probably the biggest spot of that would be the ant's little bitty brain.
It's still a fungus controlling a multicellular creature with a will of some form.
Well, yeah, and there's also ones that do the same thing to wasps.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and let's get into that a little bit. So this is not the only parasitic fungus species in the insect world either.
Oh, yeah.
Again, from that National Geographic article, quote, researchers in Thailand and the United States are studying different Ophiocordyceps species that infect other species of ants to compare their control mechanisms. In all, researchers have identified over 200 species of Ophiocordyceps that can infect hosts from 10 insect orders as well as spiders, though not all lead to behavioral manipulation.
I think the spider ones, just eat them. They don't actually make them do anything. But it's funny that both the ant and the wasp one, ants and wasps are the same, order.
Yeah.
So there's Entomorphthora muscae, which literally means insect destroyer of the fly in Greek.
Ugh.
It causes infected flies to climb a certain height, glue themselves at the mouth to a plant, and assume an abdomen up death pose that's optimal for spore dispersal. There's also the Massospora cicadina, which pumps its cicada hosts full of hallucinogenic drugs and causes parts of their abdomens to fall off.
Oh,
I've seen that shit. I've seen that before. God.
The bare-bottomed cicada then wiggles its way towards death, again in the interest of spore dispersal.
God, I want off this fucking planet now, guys.
There's just more spores out there.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Burn me. Gee, when I die, burn me.
That's the only way to be sure.
Only way to be sure, man. Nuke it from orbit.
Now we've talked about these different ways that fungus can kill things, but we should probably also talk about the amount of fungal microbes in our bodies.
Can we not and say we did?
Well, we're going to. Okay. So this mycobiome is comprised of some fungi that seem to be beneficial to humans. We don't entirely know. We're assuming they are. We see some evidence that some might be helping us, but we don't know. So we usually focus mostly on beneficial bacteria when we think about, our gut bacteria and that sort of thing, especially when we consider the shit that's living inside us. But fungi are there too.
Look, I'm going to start charging some insanely high rent and be a mycobiome slumlord.
There you go.
Sure. Yep.
And so for sure we know fungi or other ones in their kingdom can, because auto brewery syndrome.
Oh yeah, there have been people
that's where an individual can start having yeast live in their gut, and basically they're drunk all the time because the yeast is producing alcohol
in your stomach.
Yeah.
Like Bender in Futurama?
Yes.
Yeah. No,
It's a real thing. There have been people that have gotten very, very sick trying to get it to happen because they're like, dude, it's badass. I'm going to be drunk 24/7.
I had never heard that before.
Oh, yeah, no, look it up. That is actually hilarious.
Yeah,
because,
and so people would say it's great, but
yeah.
You get used to it. So even though you're blowing, high blood alcohol levels, you're not as drunk. Because I saw one of the, I think it was a lady that had this, got an exemption that, a card that said, I may blow, whatever on the breathalyzer, but I'm not drunk and in fact can safely drive.
Yeah, and then there's the whole fact that you kind of bloat.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, if I drink water and it turns into wine in my belly, I become the Messiah. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had not heard of that before. That's an interesting wrinkle to all of this. So,
yeah. Not all of it's good, but some of it.
Yeah. So it seems clear that fungus has a role to play in the human body, and we're still not entirely sure what it is, as some fungal triggers cause problems, while other fungi appear to provide possible benefits. Now, understanding the relationship between humus and fungi is important to understanding the idea of the species barrier and how essential it is to have protections in place for our bodies. So what do you guys know about the species barrier?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure Trump wants to make the species pay for it.
Isn't that like, where, you have like the types of porn segregated?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You see, when a man loves a horse very, very much.
Those are just called laws.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
So the species barrier is very relevant to us, especially past couple of years. So in some recent pandemics, such as swine flu, bird flu, and notably COVID, they're pretty much the result of pathogens crossing the species barrier.
Right.
Now, fungus are a species that carry their own viruses, and those viruses, like any virus, could jump that barrier in the right circumstances.
Oh, joy.
One such circumstance is climate change. Now, we'll get into that a little bit more, but we had mentioned The Last of Us earlier. The Last of Us is probably one of the best examples out there of anxieties surrounding a relationship between fungi and humanity.
It's also the most probable one I've seen for zombies. Because of the ants. It's like the minute I saw mushrooms growing out of people in the material from that game, I was like, well, I could buy this.
Yeah. So for those of you who have not played the game or watched the fantastic first season of that HBO series, The Last of Us, a post-apocalyptic survival story that follows people in a world where fungus has infected a sizable pocket of humanity and turned them into fungal zombies.
Nice.
It's a lot of fun. It's done a lot to get people to think about fungus a lot more. Especially as we are seeing that climate change is causing some real havoc regarding deadly fungal growth in humans right fucking now.
Oh boy!
So, from nature.com, quote, experts agree that fungal pathogens are a serious threat to human health, food biosecurity, and ecosystem resilience, yet lack of funding translates into inadequate surveillance systems to monitor fungal disease incidence and antifungal drug resistance. So there's a lot of talk right now about this, and there's been some stuff in the news lately, which is also one of the things that kind of threw a curveball at me, because, again, there's developing stories here. So it's more imperative than ever to think about these things. For example, here's an article published earlier this month titled Candida auris fungus spreading in U.S. hospitals, according to the CDC.
Oh, God.
Quote, potentially deadly fungal infections with Candida auris are spreading rapidly in the U.S. healthcare facilities, with cases nearly doubling between 2020 and 2021, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said. The number of cases rose by 44% to 476 in 2019, up from 330 in 2018, and subsequently 59% to 756 in 2020, and by an additional 95% to 1,471 in 2021. And this is what the agency's researchers reported on Monday in the Annals of Internal Medicine. So, also concerning was a tripling in 2021 of the number of cases that were resistant to echinocandins, the class of drugs most often recommended for the treatment of the disease. Further, although it was initially limited primarily to New York City and Chicago metropolitan areas, Candida auris has now been detected in more than half of U.S. states, with recent cases mostly reflecting local transmission of the disease, according to the report.
Well, I'm terrified now. I am now more terrified than I was before, and I'm going to blame the Fnords. But nonetheless, I am terrified. Mike,
so,
real quick,
yeah.
you got any thoughts on this? Okay. Mike's just like, oh, we're fucked. Great.
It's, again, like, all of this is, like, really fucking freaky in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I don't like this.
Yeah. And I'm sure I see Mike highlighting, so he's probably going to look up what this is a fatal fungal infection from what I've gathered. I don't know all the details on it, but
quick question: Is Legionnaire's disease fungal?
I don't believe. I think that's bacterial.
Okay, thank God. Okay, good old bacteria. All right.
I think one of the documentaries, I think it was Fantastic Fungi, they actually talk about an early case of Candida auris in Canada. Like, there was just a fungal bloom in Canada because of climate change, and it, like, fucked up the city.
Christ.
Yeah. So, the spread of this fungus can be attributed to several factors, but likely climate change is a significant reason because, and I'm going to quote from an article titled, On the Emergence of Candida auris, Climate Change, Azoles, Swamps, and Birds. Interesting that birds are mentioned here.
Yeah.
Quote, the thermal restriction zone that protects mammals is the difference between their high basal temperatures and the environmental temperatures. Human-induced climate change is anticipated to warm the Earth by several degrees in the 21st century, which will reduce the magnitude of the gradient between the ambient temperatures and the mammalian basal temperatures. Consequently, there is concern that higher ambient temperatures will lead to the selection of fungal lineages to become more thermally tolerant, such that they can breach the mammalian thermal restriction zone. In this regard, experiments with an entomopathogenic fungus have shown that these can be rapidly adapted to growth at higher temperatures by thermal selection, establishing a precedent for an animal pathogenic fungus adapting to mammalian basal temperatures. So, yeah, what do we think about this?
What I think is maybe don't experiment to make super funguses.
Well, you got to experiment to see if it's a problem.
Sure, but I'm just, my other thing is, so what they're saying is the closer ambient temperature gets to our internal temperature of, say, 98.7, the easier it will be for these things to jump inside us and do their shit.
Because you think about it, it's natural selection. As the world heats up, the fungi that are able to adapt to it are the ones that survive.
No, exactly.
And ones that are better able to survive at higher temperatures are better able to infect humans.
Okay, so we're going to die from a pizza topping. This is good.
And here's the thing. It may not be the fungus. Like, the fungus may, like, cause some fucked up shit, but what if it's a disease the fungus carries?
It's a virus the fungus is carrying,
fair. But still, we're going to die from a pizza topping.
Yeah. That's a spicy meatball.
Oh, God.
So this leads us to the origins of Cosmic Death Fungus as a concept, and to me, Cosmic Death Fungus stands as the grand unification of bad vibes theory.
Okay.
So, let's get to the crank shit.
Yeah, let's talk about this PDF you made me read the early version of.
So this guide to Cosmic Death Fungus is crank shit. It's silly, probably a LARP, but there is an element to it that rings true that also makes it so interesting. And there's also a social component here that I kind of get to, but I can't go too far into it because there's still so much that I would have to look into.
Right.
And no, we're not talking about the fungi of Yuggoth.
which are alien fungi lobsters. Mike, you're very familiar with these guys.
Or are those the glowy crawfish dudes?
Yep.
Yep.
That was one of the very first things the guys met in my Call of Cthulhu game. And they were like, what's it look like? I was like, well, it's like a crawfish with a glowy starfish head. And they're like, well, fuck that. Good thing they're allergic to shotguns.
Lead poisoning.
Yes.
So the earliest I could track down this cosmic death fungus idea was around 2021 or 2022. I
Okay.
recall seeing it around 2020. Again, this has been on my radar for a little bit. I had seen it in the background because I check X just about every day because I like comedy. I feel like it's
Dark
fairly
comedy.
recent. I could
Yes.
be wrong. I could be wrong here.
It feels recent.
Yeah. Now, the place where I stumbled onto this was 4chan's X-Board. We were doing the segment on Weekend Weird and everything like that. So I should note that this document has since I started writing the script, has since been revised to the current 2.02 CDF protocol PDF provided in the threads. So there's actually a group of people who are doing this and managing it and everything like that.
Yeah,
There's a subreddit now.
And we are not linking to the document.
Oh, okay. So you'll have to take that out of the script then.
Are you linking to the document? We can link
Yeah,
to the document. It's
Yeah,
fine.
we can link to the document. There's specific things that they suggest that I'm not going to. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not talking about it on the air.
Now, however, it should be noted that, like any insular 4chan community, the threads also show division within the ranks. There's
Really?
currently heavy debate about changes made between the versions of the PDF, and the current PDF is over 240-something pages.
This reminds me of every time they come out with a new edition of D&D.
So the document proposes that a collection of different extraterrestrial fungus or fungi has infected the human species since early in our development as a culture and has shaped our evolution. Further, these fungi have also severely affected our health and are responsible for every health condition known to humankind.
Right. I remember that and being like, go on, pull the other one. It's got bells on.
Quote, cosmic signifies that the fungi in question has a cosmic origin, otherwise known as panspermia theory. Death signifies the entropy that CDF causes by continual damage to our DNA. CDF, cosmic death fungus, can cause brain disorders, heart problems, tooth decay, cancer, diabetes, sclerosis, back and joint pain, anxiety, depression, and accelerated aging. It is also responsible for multiple defects in our genome, which predispose us to serious diseases, which we then pass these defects on to our children.
Yeah.
So they're saying without this cosmic death fungus, we would have no disease and live forever.
Yeah.
That's not how.
Yep.
That's not.
Yep. That's it exactly.
That's
But
not
they cite
how
scientific papers in the document, Mike.
mechanical
Mike.
system works.
Yeah, Mike.
They cite
science.
cite papers. They got science papers that they cite.
They
From
have-
Scienceman.
Where they get those science papers?
Scienceman.
There a lot of them are legitimate journals. We'll get into this. We'll get into that.
The local
No.
Walmart.
No, they're real papers.
Yeah, no, they are real papers. There's some validity to them. Again, I will talk a little bit more about this. I want to finish this quote, though, real quick.
Okay.
Quote, continuing the quote, it doesn't stop at causing suffering and disease. It also influences our thoughts, behaviors, and eating habits. It can prompt deviant or impulsive behavior, thrives on conflict and stress, and creates hormone imbalances for its own benefit. It wreaks havoc throughout the body and works intelligently to get what it wants. You are its food. You are not even fully human. In fact, you won't experience your true potential until you remove it from your body and heal the damage it has caused.
This is the ultimate pinnacle of it's not my fault that I'm a stupid sack of shit.
The fungus did it.
Not only does it make you sick, it makes you sad, it makes you die, and it makes you really want to double down.
Man, I just want to double down now.
God damn it, Mike.
It could be made of fungus and I'd want to double down.
Oh, you would not want a tofu double down.
Now, there's a lot going on in that quote.
There's a hell of a lot.
We're going to address all the kind of things they bring up here. But you see what it's doing. It's positioning this fungus as something that has caused disease, that has
and
It's
gives us the
everything
SADS.
wrong.
It's also a very seductive argument that you're not sick and stupid because because of your own failings, or it's the fungus.
It's not that head injury.
And not only that, but it also paints it as an anthropomorphic thing.
It's like Satan.
It's taking the trope that we've already established with all the wacky, weird shit attached to fungus, but it's dialing it up, and that's why when of all the things that we've talked about, this feels most plausible to me. Obviously, there are things that obviously that's bullshit. But of all the things that we've covered, the idea that there's some sort of fungus that has radically altered us doesn't strike me as being out of the realm of possibility.
It's just close enough to the ants.
But apparently also, if we can get rid of that fungus, we become the Supermen.
Yes, that's the other thing.
That's
which is another
Scientology.
little red flag here.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. There's something I want to bring up about that, but I'll wait.
Okay. So specifically, the 3 fungal bodies that the document suggests do this are Aspergillus, Cryptococcus, and Candida, which is one of the genus of fungi that's in the news right now.
Yeah, Candida, that's the one from that we were just talking about.
Yeah. So the second section of the PDF is titled The Fall of Man.
Oh, joy.
And it provides evidence, and I'm going to put that in huge air quotes there.
Oh, yeah.
Quote evidence.
Of historical and archaeological records to support their idea. Specifically, the PDF looks at an archaeological site in Morocco that it claims is the earliest example of tooth decay in human populations, suggesting that the age of these remains places them about 10,000 years before a time when early humans supposedly domesticated certain starchy plants that would eventually kind of lead to tooth decay.
So you're saying that you didn't just find sugar cane and eat the shit because it was sugar cane. It has to be the fungus.
Yeah, there's some pretty weak arguments here, but it's got a citation with a link to a paper on a database, so we obviously have to take it as true.
Okay.
Now, the more reasonable of us assume that dating remains isn't an entirely exact science, and plus or minus 20,000 years is actually pretty damn narrow window for this sort of thing.
Sure.
Right, you know what I mean. It's getting a couple thousand years in that area. That's good.
Carbon and other dating methods aren't going to get you the second Tuesday of 30,000 BCE.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to get you a window, which like you said, could be up to 20,000 years.
Yeah,
and
somewhere
10,000 is just half of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So obviously, it's not the starchy plants. It's not the sugar cane.
No.
The real source of this tooth decay comes from pigeons.
If you didn't bring up the fucking birds, I was gonna do it because this is bat shit. Sorry. This is pigeon shit. This is a pigeon shit doc.
So, the CDF protocol document suggests that pigeons domesticated by these early humans found in Morocco may have passed on pathogenic fungi and they might have passed on to us and kicked off this ongoing battle with the Cosmic Death Fungus. The supposed, the idea is that early humans were domesticating these pigeons and the pigeon shit, and then a flood,
it got in us.
Yeah.
Or, Joe Bob Caveman decided, whatever is good to eat. Oh, God, this is disgusting. Hey, why do I want a Big Mac now?
So, the supposed history of this is also very, very long and complicated.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to bore us. It's in the document if anyone has a couple hours to kill.
Don't do it. I'm begging you, don't do it.
Okay, there's a 40-page creation myth that links the Cosmic Death Fungus to representations of the Egyptian gods, and also the Anunnaki show up.
Because the fungus was fucking too loud.
Callback.
Yeah.
So it goes a lot. It goes really hard into trying to make this mythology, which is the thing that throws me. If they hadn't thrown that shit in there,
Yeah.
if they had just focused on the idea, like, okay, here's a bunch of examples of how fungus is fucking people. Here's how you can treat it. Like, that would make it more plausible. But now that they're spinning this mythology that ties all world cultures together in this cosmic battle against yeast, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just...
Yeah. It's just, we have begun to feel that perhaps the god Set might represent fungus.
Yeah. Now, this is a long document, and it sometimes veers into conspiratorial thinking. I mean, the first humans they talk about happen to be, like, technically, like, ethnically white. You know what I mean?
Oh.
And I downloaded it from 4chan, so, again...
Bookstore racism, everybody.
Yes. White people in Morocco. Sure.
White people in Morocco.
In 30,000 BC Morocco.
That's...
But then again, if you think that human civilization and all illnesses are dictated by an alien fungus, you're probably more predisposed to conspiratorial thought.
Of course.
That's
right.
True.
But I think the biggest thing with all of this is that there's this idea of this grand unifier of diseases and illnesses to a ridiculous degree. It's not a myriad of factors that are affecting the human machine. It's all fungi.
Yes, the
pigeon shit fungus from space.
You know, obviously just that simple.
From space.
I mean, you know,
I gotta keep throwing from space.
My car is, you know, leaking oil and the starter's not working every time, and you know the heater doesn't work, but all that
is because it needs a new paint job.
It's the root cause is it's out of gas.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want one of these guys to become a doctor just for chaos reasons, and like, you know, gunshot victim comes in, it's like, how'd he die? Oh, the fungus shot him.
Yep, the fungus got him. He could have healed it.
Yeah, the fungus was it pulled the bullet to him.
Yes.
So the biggest problem with this document, aside from it being kind of ridiculous, is how the PDF couches its bullshit in academic sources in the way a bad student paper works. They provide selective citations and readings of legitimate data to suit their narrative. You might also have heard of this as alternative facts.
Right.
So the document is buried in links to papers from multiple databases.
You know, this is very similar to when they're looking for a good quote for a shitty movie and they find a review that says this movie is amazingly terrible, and then on the DVD cover they cut it down to this movie is amazing ...
Yeah, and we see this a lot. And I, as someone who teaches, I see it a lot too, where it's like they have this argument coming into their paper. They see something that throws it off, and it's like, well, if I don't use this very important paper in the study, as long as I don't mention it, it doesn't exist.
Just
never mind that our instructor knows what he's talking about. Anyway, I'm not bitter.
Not to follow the sources and look into it.
What was that you said, David? You're not bitter?
Oh, yeah, I'm not bitter.
I didn't think you were.
So here's the thing. These papers that are being cited, they're not bad.
Oh, yeah,
they're peer-reviewed documents, and like obviously there's things that slip through.
Sure. But
a lot of them are peer-reviewed and credits to their respective fields. There's some good data there.
Right.
The problem is how the theory picks and chooses elements of larger studies to make its claims.
And this is the thing to remember about that is this is how all conspiracies usually work. We have no high-res pictures of the moon from the 60s because of a cover-up. No, it's because cameras sucked. You're leaving out very important information that cameras sucked. It's that kind of thing.
It's something that we're dealing with very heavily right now. I also call this the yes, but.
Okay.
You know, because as a teacher, I see this in essays I read from students. There's a level of intellectual dishonesty in how these studies are used to selectively paint a portrait of alien fungus that has controlled us for generations. Yes, can fungus, like, control animals?
Yes.
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 Can it control humans? No. But they see that organic... they see that animals can be controlled and humans are animals. Therefore...
Ergo, yeah.
Ergot.
Ergot.
There you go. Oh, yeah, we're nailing it, man. I love it.
Oh, yeah. That's actually a good one, Mike. I'm giving you credit for that one.
I think you got the best one of the episode.
Yeah, because it was unexpected, and it was a good callback.
Yep. So let's talk about the cleanse here.
Now,
let's talk about the cleanse.
Is this like the final solution?
In the sense that they're going to wipe out this fungus, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if they're going to round up the mushrooms into camps, but we'll see what happens.
I'm not going to go there. Never mind. Let's move on.
Right. So the NAC protocol is the method by which you can reduce the fungal infection within the body, but tellingly can never quite be rid of it, utilizing a maintenance treatment.
Oh, boy.
So the extended metaphor in all of this is that you're trying to detoxify your body of the fungal systems that cause you illness.
Okay.
Now, the wild part is there are people who seem to be doing this and finding themselves sick, figuring out that it is working.
Now, I know it specifically mentions that the cure for the fungus causes like shitting everything inside you out and feeling awful. So that seems legit. I mean, that's what happens, right?
If you go to the subreddit, you'll see a lot of memes where it's like people are like, "Oh, I'm absolutely fucking dying," and then it like they reach enlightenment. That's literally how all the memes are going.
That's there's something zen about that, but it's stupid.
Look, I've had like really bad diarrhea before, and
thank you for sharing.
You're on the toilet and like wishing it would just end, and you're like, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
You just wanted everyone to know you had diarrhea.
You're wishing it would end, and you would do anything to end it, including convincing yourself you're clean.
Well, there's a very psychological component to that as well, because people love to suffer if they feel like they're getting something from it.
They wouldn't want to, if they're suffering that much, obviously it must be worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Therefore, they can't,
And there's also I've come this far, I can't give up now.
Right,
I'm already in.
I can't say it didn't work because...
In for a penny, in for a pound.
Sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah, but it's also it seems like it's engineered to make people feel terrible and then good for a little bit and then terrible again. So it's a perpetual...
You stop shitting your guts out for a couple of days, so of course you feel better.
Guys, it's chemical Scientology.
Honestly, that feels pretty accurate to what I'm seeing here.
Keep having to fucking go through the auditing process with chemicals.
It seems worse than chemical castration.
Yeah.
There is this psychological cult-like element to this that we're going to get into just a little bit. I'm not going to dwell on it too much because I feel like we'll have to revisit this. But
there's a lot of that we're getting to these days. But yes, we will come back.
Yeah. But that idea of the cleanse, this is where I think the best evidence of when this concept of cosmic death fungus began. Because the document mentions the NAC protocol being released in December of 2021, which seems about right in the potential timeline. Again, I'm dealing with 4chan threads. They only archive so much.
Because who wants to keep it?
Okay. Well, we'll get into that another time. But anyway, the protocol itself is composed of ingesting 3 elements.
Okay.
Oregano oil, black seed oil, and I'm going to butcher this. This is N-acetylcysteine.
That looks about right.
Very good. And it kind of feels like this might all be a plot by Big Grocery.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going to... The name that I read, and I'm not going to be able to read again, we're just going to call it NAC.
Yeah.
But that's why it's called the NAC protocol.
Yes.
So this NAC is usually used in the treatment of acetaminophen poisoning. So if you take too much Tylenol...
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it can fuck with your liver and that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Now, here's what I'm going to do that separates me from Joe Rogan.
Yes.
I'm going to admit that I am a little out of my depth here, as I am not a doctor. With that said, the protocol listed in the PDF suggests taking a third more NAC daily than advised on a website like WebMD as prescribed by doctors.
Oh, no.
Further, this is a daily thing for 2 months in the initial phase of this treatment.
Oh, God.
Also, that's just a lot of oil, too.
Yeah. You're shitting whale oil, basically.
Yeah, because I'm not going to give exact numbers here, but like it's a third more than like the daily recommended dosage of NAC.
The healthy amount.
And considering it is used to repair a liver that has been damaged by Tylenol, taking too much Tylenol, that just doesn't seem good.
No, it doesn't. It's terrible.
So following this, the document suggests counting out 3 weeks with no, quote, die-off symptoms, end quote, before the next phase. Now, these die-off symptoms include tiredness, exhaustion, muscle soreness, increased chest or nasal discharge, cold or flu-like symptoms, cold sores, headaches, rash, acne, irritability, change in stool frequency, volume or color, increased urination, bloated stomach, cramps, or increased gas.
I have one note in the doc for that, which is just Jesus fucking Christ.
Now, does anything of this on this list that I just mentioned seem off? Anything seem off to you guys?
Yeah, all of it. I mean, like, it's fucking... You're killing yourself with essential oils.
Now, I admit I'm not a paragon of health.
Okay.
But these symptoms seem to be very unrelated to a large degree and influenced by any number of factors. It just feels very arbitrary.
It sounds like you're ingesting a bunch of fucking oil and shit.
Well, right, but also, like, again, like, if you feel bad at all during the 3 weeks, what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to go back to pumping yourselves daily with a third beyond the recommended dosage of NAC. So if you can go 3 weeks without these symptoms, these die-off symptoms, then the protocol advises entering a maintenance protocol of 3 weeks of supplements with a week off, which seems very specifically engineered.
Yeah, to get you to feel okay for a little bit, then go back on it.
Now, I haven't mentioned any numbers here, as I feel like it would be incredibly irresponsible for me to do on a fucking podcast. I'm not Joe Rogan.
Good man.
So, yeah, no hard numbers here. If you're curious, read it in the doc. But again, you seem to be pumping yourself full of shit that, you know, is going to make you shit like a goose. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So this is a lot of, you know, a very specific regimen. I'm wondering how they came up with this. Was there like scientific, you know, study and thought and, you know, trials?
Now,
They keep mentioning white papers, and I have not seen those white papers.
I will say that the shitting, yes, you could probably shit the fungus out, but you're going to shit everything else out too.
So, like there is a little bit of lore to this, and there's some personalities. We'll get into that a little bit here at the end.
Okay.
But again, I haven't seen the white papers on this.
I don't think you're gonna.
So COVID is older than this stuff.
Yeah.
This thought. And we still don't have all the answers for that. And they claim to have all the answers for this cosmic death fungus.
Yep.
And,
Well, it's been around longer.
They're delivering these ideas is also one of the things
Mike,
that worries me.
But they haven't been studying it, but for 2 years, quote unquote, studying.
I can't even pretend to act like I believe this shit. I'm sorry.
So, the protocol document suggests that the following tips can undo years of genetic damage and give us back, quote, our innate abilities as humans, a properly working mind, body, and spirit, end quote.
Okay.
It gets better now. Quote, with everything working as intended, you can now call yourself fully human. You are no longer a distorted genetic mess under constant attack. You now hold the keys to unlocking your true potential, the ability to put thought into action in new ways, and increase perception, awareness, and spiritual connection that is unhindered by invasion.
This sounds like it's going to wake up your they're trying to say it's going to wake up your pineal gland. And it's going to turn you into a fucking Lemurian. And I don't want that because I don't want a mullet.
Also sounds shockingly close to what Scientology promises.
Doesn't it?
Again, a lot of culty vibes in a lot of this.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, here's the thing. I will believe it when they have an example of someone that's like this.
Oh, yeah, I want to see somebody that's quote-unquote clear like in Scientology. But
Well,
from
and you
this.
can always follow the subreddit to see people on their journey.
I'll check it out, but I'm not
Here's
joining.
the other thing. How do they know? How do they know this is what it'll get you? Like, even if they were 100% right in that there were fungi,
Do they have someone?
I would think
Yeah.
that by now we would be so dependent on the fungi that getting
We'd
rid of
die.
them, we would just die. Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's what's preventing us from being the X-Men.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it?
You get your superpowers. Maybe that's what the X gene is. You're able to fight off the fungus.
Oh, okay. So you have to develop a healing factor, and then you
So-
get rid of the
yeah.
fungus, and then you get laser. You shoot punches out of your eyes.
Yeah. So your 13-year-old Cyclops, he wakes up one morning, like shits out his entire body, and then he's like, "Oh my god, I'm a mutant now."
Why do I have these fists shooting out of my eyes? What the fuck?
Now, I kind of am seeing a direction where this document is headed. So,
Okay.
Speaking on invasions, however, the document also has a section that connects this fungi to ultra-terrestrials and larger concepts of panspermia.
Okay, back the fuck up. Do what? Ultra-terrestrials are in this too?
Yes.
Okay.
So, what do we know about panspermia?
Well, that's... Mike, you go ahead.
That's not what is in my wastebasket in my room, is it?
Oh, God. You motherfucker.
No, it's
I'm going to throw a bar stool at you.
it's the theory that life originated and was transferred from
Somewhere
another
else
world
to Earth.
to Earth.
Right. Like via
Yeah,
comets
something-
or
Or not even to
asteroids.
Earth, but that life can originate on one celestial body and through any number of means be transferred to another. Basically, kind of like how islands species can
Right.
pop, but
Yeah.
usually through thoughts of and usually the thought is like it's microorganisms
Right.
and they're clinging to
Right.
And this is why...
asteroids or maybe chunks of ice that are thrown off of a body.
Right, which is, I was going to say, it's very similar to, like, that's why the Martian meteor that they found at the South Pole was such a big deal, because they thought they found proof of panspermia on it. They thought they found, like, microbes that had been alive.
So obviously, it's plausible. I think all three of us would say that,
Panspermia
it's plausible.
is plausible.
Yeah.
So is it panspermia or transpermia?
Pan.
What's
pan.
transpermia?
That is when it changes gender? No.
I thought I heard trans too, but maybe I was just wrong.
I don't know. It could be another version of that word. I've heard panspermia many
Yeah,
times.
as far as I know, it's panspermia.
Okay.
Like a pan pizza.
Yes.
Ooh.
Or Pan-American.
There you go. So, I'm just going to quote here. We're actually getting to the end of the episode here. Quote, "First and foremost, we need to set the correct understanding of this arm of the fungal kingdom. The classification of fungi is debatable, and one could argue that they're closer to micron-scale insects than fungi."
Is it? And this is from the batshit document, is it?
Yes.
The
yes.
pigeon shit document, sorry.
Yeah, it's giving it a certain level of intelligence, and it's like, it's not really fungus. It's more of like a...
Well, insects aren't very intelligent either.
Yeah, they're just walking nerve bundles.
Right? So, we could probably go further in on this topic, and I'm sure I could talk more about the deceptive and culty usage of information packaged within the PDF. A glance at... Oh, yeah.
I'm going to call it now. They're going to start, calling for donations, preferably in crypto.
Oh, that'll be great.
The other thing is, I think that they're probably going to be developing that storyline about the panspermia and ultra-terrestrials. I think that... Because it's a very small portion of the doc comparatively. But
it's going to get bigger.
But yeah, they did just add this huge fucking section on history and all these different cultures and the war against fungus recorded in our history.
This is like the Archons.
It reminds me of World War Z.
It reminds me of the Archons and them being alien invaders that take control of us.
Mm-hmm. This is just
we need to talk about the Archons
this is
in an
still
episode.
just fungus thetans.
Yes.
Right.
Fungal thetans. Phaetons.
So So just a glance at the official subreddit put together by what I'm assuming are the originators, because they link the subreddit within the document. The originators of the PDF show a lot of really suspect things, like such as people making themselves sick and devoting themselves slavishly to spreading the message of cosmic death fungus. It is to such a degree that these PDF updates are treated with the same relevance of QAnon drops.
Oh, no.
God, instead of audits, they just shit themselves.
Right? And we're talking about code names such as K, R, Persiban, and Space Cowboy showing up in these discussions as well.
Oh, Christ.
What's the letter after Q?
R.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's also getting messier now, because I'm seeing a secondary movement within these threads referring to the parasite pill, which I don't have time to get into yet.
I don't even want to know right now.
So I think
Alex
reading
Jones.
yeah, like there again, like, and I think this quote is going to say a lot here.
Okay.
So I've got this comment on a subreddit. I'm not going to name who it is, and I've also like taken out the reference to a certain person.
It's Joe Rogan. Rogan.
No, not Joe. I think it's a good indicator of the more problematic vibes of all of this, and I feel like this thing's only going to get bigger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quote, "There is a profound path being laid out. It takes a deeper understanding of biology and chemistry than I currently have to fully comprehend it. I am on the same page with the protocol results from my own experience. I agree that this is the most powerful information I have ever encountered. It answers all the questions and provides a clear path to change your life. I have shared it with many, and a few have started the protocol now also. To have someone you know giving you the same descriptions of experiences you yourself have had is better proof to me than any peer-reviewed paper. Please continue the work in sharing the information. It will change the world as we know it." End quote.
This is the same weird-ass health shit that gets people taking colloidal silver and ODing on multivitamins, and it's foolish, and it's damaging, and it's dangerous. I feel like it's our duty to say that you need to be extremely careful of believing any of the shit like this you read online, and also anyone claiming they have answers in general, so be careful.
Yeah, like, no one has all the answers to everything everywhere.
No. Especially,
all at once.
and it's definitely not an answer if it involves ultra-terrestrials influencing a fungus.
And just death shitting yourself.
Yes.
I mean, come on. I mean, like, wasn't diarrhea classically a fatal...
Oh, yeah, no, it's only
thing?
in recent years you can get it, and it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Now it's funny. Then it
before-
was like, my husband has diarrhea. I'm sorry, when's the funeral?
Yeah. But,
It's also the tone of that message that,
Oh,
Yeah.
this dude is a believer.
like I'm seeing all of these red fucking flags waving in the wind about how this is going to be a thing that we're going to be hearing about in the next couple of years, that people are going to be taking very, very seriously.
I know, and it terrifies me.
Here's the thing. Fungus is like a thing you can see, like, with a microscope. Mm-hmm. We'd be finding it everywhere, like in every bit of cells, but we would have found it by now if there was such a thing.
Yeah.
Unless the fungus
to me,
doesn't want you to know.
The fungus, creates a blind spot to the fungus.
It's like a Fenord, but different. No, what it is the fungus. No, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not supporting these people with jokes even.
And here's the thing. We essentially had two halves here. We have one half that's like the reality of fungus, and then we have this like LARP that's going on.
Right.
Could be potentially a scam. I would not be surprised to find out that there's someone making money on this.
Yeah, definitely.
But the stuff in the first half, to me, is scary. Like it feels
it's
more
legit
real.
Scary stuff. Yeah.
There's a legit threat there, and I feel like things like this are an issue because it's kind of distracting from the real threat of fungus, and that not in the sense that like the fungus is threatening us at all.
Right.
It's just
No,
the
but
threat
like
of the
fungus.
possibility of the fungus the diseases of the fungus making the jump, right?
Yeah, the medicine resistant fungus.
Right. Which now here's the thing. I've been reading a lot of Robert Anton Wilson, and it's got a lot to do with conspiracies, and I'm immediately sitting here going, well, maybe this whole cosmic death fungus thing is a front to discredit people worried about climate change and funguses.
And then the other thing is, like, when I'm reading the doc, when they talk about, like, the cleanse and everything like that, they're very specific about, like, certain brands of oils.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, and the fact that it's called the cleanse, it sounds marketable.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like we're at the very early stages of the next big... Like, the minute this pops onto Alex Jones, that's when it's going to be...
Yeah, no, you're going to be able to get your cleanse kit and your Baker buckets.
Yeah, I'm definitely... There's definitely going to be some pseudo... close to shite. I mean, Alex Jones is past his time, but someone else will come.
Jim Baker, that kind of thing.
And have, their thing.
Piers Morgan.
I don't know who it'll be.
Or Jordan Peterson. That's who I'm thinking of.
Oh, God.
Jordan Peterson.
There you go.
And he'll be selling a Home Depot bucket full of oils.
And you drink from the bucket and then shit into the bucket.
Right.
And the NAC.
What you have to know about, because he talks like Kermit the Frog, what you have to know about the cosmic death fungus is it is part of the trope that leads to the man no longer being masculine, and that's what's leading to the problems with society.
That's the next thing they're going
to
link
it makes your nuts shrink.
Link it to, like,
They do kind of hint at that in there.
It turns you into a soy boy. Well, it did talk about deviancy, and I'm sitting here, so if you like if you're a man and you like something up your butt, the fungus has got you. That's what it is, everybody. No, I'm gonna need you to go to YouTube, and you're gonna have to search up butt fungus obsession.
Now, Alex, you need to be aware that, like, anal stimulation is a thing that is...
Don't you tell me what to do, you son of a bitch. I woke up with a hangover this morning. I've been drinking whiskey for 19 hours. My wife...
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, I got on a thing there.
Well, what I like about this topic is it's scary for a couple of reasons. Obviously, like, the real reality of fungus,
fear...
But then the culty thing that's developing here.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm seeing it develop here.
There's
it's scary.
The true medical fear, and then the fear of what this conspiracy is going to do socially.
It could be the next QAnon.
Yeah. With K and R. It sounds like the fucking Men in Black.
Like how Flat Earth jumped to QAnon. QAnon could jump to this. Because they need a new lightning rod.
They really do.
And the fact that people were more willing to believe in a cosmic death fungus than COVID.
Yes.
That's what kills me. Because in the thread I keep seeing, like, COVID not real, COVID not real.
Of course.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
This hurts my brain, guys.
I just don't understand that need for people to believe in the most outrageous thing and not the scientifically provable thing.
Somehow, I think maybe it's the fact that it's not. I don't know. There's this.
Well, I know it's a distrust
of science.
Well, I think it's mostly media. And
right.
Media is the mouthpiece of science.
Well, again, I've been reading Robert Anton Wilson, and there's a lot of like, if you read the Illuminatus trilogy. It's almost like an instruction manual on how to do one of these conspiracies.
Right. And what is it they call Operation? It was Operation
Mindfuck.
Right?
Is culture jamming. Yes, this
feels like Operation Mindfuck.
It really does. And it would not surprise me to find a very harmful group of Discordians at the center of this,
or at least someone that's read the
Illuminatus. Yeah, no, because it's like it, and. God damn it.
God damn those sarcasm wizards.
I swear to God. So that being said, David, thank you for this episode. We're going to come back to this in the future as it develops because, is it going to develop?
Like a bad Polaroid.
Like a fungus on your feet.
Like a Polaroid you took while drunk and your friend was like, I don't know, filleting a horse statue.
And there was a puckwudgie in the background.
Okay, Mike, you shut the fuck up right now.
Hey, no one would have known if you hadn't said anything.
Look, there was a photo and Cassidy was showing people, all right?
Yeah, but the listeners wouldn't have known that if you hadn't said anything.
But it's funny. Because I was attempting to fillet a horse statue.
It's a bit.
There was a lot, and I mean a lot of whiskey involved.
Yeah, a lot. 2 ounces maybe.
Mike, I've been drinking all day.
I've
never
2
been
ounces
that
of
drunk.
whiskey and gallons of horse cum.
Yeah,
Yes.
It was a statue, sir. Horse
Maybe
statues
it was one
don't
of those
come.
luges, those ice luges where, you pour the alcohol in.
Oh, God. I wish that No, I don't wish. Shut up, Kev. You stop talking. So.
What's with all this Kahlua?
Yeah. Oh, God, that's not Kahlua. Ah! Oh, God. So, this has been fun.
Has it?
No. That was sarcasm. Once again. Sarcasm wizards, everybody.
This was horrifying.
It was horrifying.
Disturbing.
Just remember, everybody, don't trust people on the internet. I mean, technically, don't even trust us, but we do have your best interest at heart on stuff like this.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Because, aliens,
do
that's
your
one
own
thing.
research. Don't,
Dude,
and by research,
that's
I don't
what
mean.
That's what Q says.
Well, no, their idea of doing your own research is watching another YouTube video.
In this document, they do research by getting actual studies and manipulating the...
That's not
fair.
research. No, they're...
Okay.
Okay, shit yourself and see if you feel better.
What?
Well, do your own research. Take this shit, see if you feel better. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that.
I'm gonna destroy a mushroom pizza this weekend. That's what I'm
Talk to your
gonna
doctor about this. See if shitting yourself is right for you.
Ask your doctor about Cosmic Death Fungus.
Is the ultimate colon blow cleanse right
Oh
for
my
you?
God.
Dude, it sounds like such a good name for a mushroom bar at a dispensary.
What, colon blow?
No. Well, that
Cosmic
too. But no,
Death
Cosmic
Fungus.
Death Fungus.
Oh, that'd be a great pizza
just go to the
place.
go to the head shop and be like, yeah, can I get a Cosmic Death Fungus?
What the fuck is that?
I'm gonna be watching Avatar this weekend.
Oh no.
It's the shrooms you take and you have an ego death.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, I'm not excited about that at all. I'm gonna say it here. I never did that psilocybin.
Yeah.
I was talking about...
I'm not going to incriminate myself.
I'm just saying I was talking about trying a microdose to see if it helped with my depression, and I never did.
Well, you never got it. So.
I didn't, but that's because the person I was talking to about it, I immediately got ill and went in the hospital.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to shut up, and this might get cut.
Speaking of Cosmic Death Fungus.
Yeah. All right, guys. David, thank you for a fascinating episode that has now made us all horrified and worried. Mm-hmm. So, next week we'll be back with
Fascination.
Horonation.
That sounds kind of dirty.
Fascinorer?
Horny? No.
No, God, no. Horror horny. Wait, no, that's when you... No, never mind. All right, so we'll be back next week with another Week in Weird, and after that we'll be coming back, I believe, with an episode about Discordianism.
Speaking of.
Yes, and we'll be doing a second episode about Discordianism as well. David, I'm going to let you do some research, and we can talk about its two creators, Robert Thornley and Greg Hill.
Now, I want to talk about how this thing has, consumed your life.
Yes.
Because we now have a dedicated Discordianism section on the Discord.
I put that in there so I would stop shitting up the rest of it.
You are self-quarantining because you realize this is a problem.
Yes.
Becoming a zealot.
Well, sort of, in the sense that, I'm taking this fake religion very not seriously serious.
It's going to be fun. And then I promise that I'm going to do a ghost episode at some point.
Yes,
that's my next one.
Oh,
we need
awesome.
more fucking ghosts.
We do.
That's what we need.
I was talking to Clark today about ghosts, and it was actually kind of fun because I have another ghost story I can tell about me and a friend The guy I based Monkey on, actually. So we could talk about that in another episode.
Yeah.
Awesome. We should do one about shadow people.
Weren't we closing the episode?
Oh, right. Yes. This is after the recording talk. So, thank you everyone for listening. We really appreciate it. Thank you to our patrons for your continued donations. You help keep us going. And, yeah, you can find all the information about the show on supernatpod.rocks. Again, join us on our actually active Discord for fun discussion and crazy crap. And, yeah, you can find us, like I said, supernatpod.rocks. David, what have you got to plug this week?
Yeah, let's go ahead and plug, I've been doing pretty well with the Cosmic Dash update, so just head to cosmicdash.com. I'll have a page for you to read. So
again, that's Cosmic Dash, not Cosmic Dash Fungus.
There you go.
Yeah. Because every time you said Cosmic Death, I was like, no, it's Dash.
Right.
It's called Cosmic Dash. It's a good comic.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, so CosmicDash.com. If you'd like to hit us up on the socials, we're on Mastodon. It is at SupernatPod, at HorrorHub.club. I am on at KotaOtan, KOTAOTAN, at Retro.pizza. David is, what is it, at HP Comic, at HorrorHub.club. And Mike, you're on there, right?
Sort of. I
Yeah.
mean, I have a thing, but I don't check it very much.
If you check the bio for the Supernat Pod account, it's got a link to all of our Mastodons.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We will see you next week for a lot of fun weekend weird stuff. So until then, stay safe and stay frosty. Goodbye.
You never asked me if I had anything to plug.
I'm sorry. Do you have anything to plug?
I mean, I just like being asked.
Okay, I'm sorry. You know what? That's my fault. I'm scatterbrained tonight, Mike. Do you want to plug me?
No.
Wait.
God. Never.
More like plugging this face with a mushroom pizza.
Oh, Mike had cake today.
That was okay.
Yeah, well, it's still better than no cake at all.
The donuts were better.
The donuts were